All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so I want to get into some news real quick. All right, because a video has came out today, of Russian President Vladimir Putin. All right, talking about if Europe wants a war, all right, then Russia is ready. All right, and why is Russia ready for a war? To fulfill prophecy. All right, the Lord is putting it, in the minds of Russia, all right, to be strong and ready. All right, because the Lord said, my word shall not return unto me void. Right, because Russia plays a great part in end time prophecy. All right, Russia plays a part in this third world war that's getting ready to pop off. All right, so I'm gonna show you this video that I have here. If I remember to play it, most likely I remember to play it. I'm about to read you this article real quick. All right, so Russia is ready, man. All right, when you read Ezekiel the 38th chapter, the Lord say he gonna put hooks in the jaws of Russia. Make Russia that fierce and rough, masculine nation, right? In these last days, all right, that fierce and rough nation that it once was when it was the Soviet Union, man. All right, so it says Putin exposes NATO's World War III plot. All right, because World War III is biblical prophecy. All right, World War III is spoken throughout all the scriptures, man. All right, throughout the Bible, man. And America's destruction in this third world war, all right, is written all throughout the scriptures as well. All right, so it says Putin exposes NATO's World War III plot. If Europe wants a fight, Russia is ready right now. Not tomorrow, not the next day, right now. All right? Because Russia plays a great part in this end time prophecy, in biblical prophecy. All right? Russia in the Bible is known as the land of the north. All right? In Isaiah and also in the book of Jeremiah, if I'm not mistaken. All right, the Russians are known as the Medes. All right, when you read, in those chapters, when you read about the Medes, it's not talking about the actual Medes. It's talking about Russia. All right, when it's talking about America's destruction. All right, the Medes are going to come against America, which is Russia. All right, it's not talking about the actual Medes. All right, like the ancient Medes. All right, but anyway, let's read this article. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin delivered a forceful warning to Europe's globalist leaders on Tuesday, all right, insisting that Moscow is not seeking a confrontation, but will not hesitate to defend itself if provoked. All right, we do not want a conflict with Europe, but if Europe wants a conflict, we are ready right now. Woo! All right, he declared. All right, Putin's remarks came just moments before his scheduled meeting with U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in the Kremlin. All right, a meeting widely seen as part of Washington's renewed attempt to re-engage in peace discussions over Ukraine. All right, and no peace is coming, man. All right, all these peace discussions. All right, not too long ago, about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. All right, on the news when you had Trump, I think he was signing the peace deals. All right, you had these big letters in that said peace. But the scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come, and they shall not escape. All right, no peace is coming at all. All right, only the false prophets preach and prophesy of peace. All right, when you read Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, I think it's the 16th chapter. All right, maybe the 6th chapter. All right, also the 14th chapter. It talks about, the prophets, they prophesied deceitfully. All right, speaking peace when there is no peace. See, the true prophets of the Lord are telling you that war is coming. All right, war, destruction, death, pestilence, evils. Right? Did not Jeremiah say that? Matter of fact, let's get that. All right, let's get Jeremiah. All right, Jeremiah 28 and 8, right? Jeremiah 28 and 8, it reads, because Jeremiah himself was a prophet, right? Jeremiah prophesied the downfall and the destruction of America, all right, many times, right? He prophesied Russia coming against America to destroy it, all right? That's Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, It says Jeremiah 28 and 8, it says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms. So that's what the prophets always spoke about. All right, they always spoke against many countries and against great kingdoms. And that's exactly what the prophets of the Lord, the true prophets of the Lord, are doing today. They're prophesying against many countries and against great kingdoms. And what's the main kingdom or empire the true prophets and the servants of the Lord are prophesying against? America. All right, we're letting this place know it's going to go down. It's going to be destroyed. All right, in the ancient world, the prophets always prophesied what? Against many countries and against great kingdoms. And that's how it is today, because there's nothing new under the sun. All right, the true prophets of the Lord are prophesying against many countries and against great kingdoms. All right, we're letting all these nations know they're getting ready to be destroyed, especially America, because America is going to be wiped off the face of this earth by thermonuclear destruction, by nuclear fire. All right, so Jeremiah said what? Jeremiah said this: the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. So that's what the prophets always spoke about. The prophets always spoke about what? Of war and of evil and of pestilence. And that's what the true prophets of the Lord are speaking about today. War, evil, and pestilences. We've been telling you that war is coming. All right, we've been telling you that World War III is coming for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And now you see it. Right? We've been telling you that evils are coming, because the word evil means bad times. The word when you break the word down, eve meaning time and ill meaning bad. Do you not see bad times coming? Nothing but famine and death and hell and pain and misery and suffering and sorrow and anguish is getting ready to fall upon this earth. And we've been telling you this, man. See, the prophets always spoke about war and of evil and of pestilences. And that's what we're doing today. We've been telling you about the downfall and the destruction of America. We've been telling you that famine and hell and death and pain and mourning and suffering is coming. All right? No peace is coming. The true prophets of the Lord, all right, which are the Israelites of great millstone and the ones that teach in like manner, right? They're not telling you that peace is coming. You got these Christian pastors in these churches on Sunday that you go to see on Sunday, right? Talking about, oh, nothing is going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen to America. America's going to be destroyed and swallowed and engulfed by nuclear fire in this third world war that's getting ready to happen any moment, man. All right, World War III is very imminent. All right, but we know what must come first before the nuclear missiles fly. All right, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip. All right, and you also have the false prophets telling you that the mark of the beast is not the RFID microchip, which indeed the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. All right. But anyway, let's go back to this article. All right. It says renewed attempt to re-engage in peace discussions over Ukraine. And like I said, no peace is coming. What did Jeremiah say? The prophets always spoke against many countries and against great kingdoms of war, of evil, and of pestilence. And that's what the true prophets, because the prophets in the ancient world, all right, are here today. All right, through something called a reincarnation. All right, and yes, reincarnation is biblical. All right, for those that don't know, for those that have no true understanding of the Bible. Okay? So it says Putin's remarks. All right, read that. It says the Russian leader accused European governments of deliberately sabotaging the diplomatic process and blocking constructive negotiations. All right, because the word of the Lord has to be fulfilled. The Lord said, none of my words shall return unto me void. It shall go and accomplish whatsoever I please. All right. So, this destruction has to come. This pain, this misery, this sorrow, this anguish, this misery must come. All right. No peace is coming. And they've been saying peace and safety lately, man. Peace, all these peace talks, man. But the scriptures say when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes. This is how we know destruction is right around the corner. Look, bro, it's just, man, it's so obvious and evident, man. What time we're living in, what's getting ready to happen, what's getting ready to pop off, who the true prophets and the true servants of the Lord, who the true prophets and the true servants of the Lord are. By as time moves on, it's so easy and evident to see, man. All right, Europe is preventing the U.S. administration from achieving peace on Ukraine. No peace is coming, all right? And this is all being done by the Lord. The Lord is not allowing peace to come, all right? Because the Lord is in the mind of these people, of these people, man. The Lord controls everything, man. The Lord moves everybody like chess pieces, all right? It says, he said, arguing that Brussels continues to impose demands that Moscow views as unrealistic and hostile. Although Putin did not specify which European conditions he found unacceptable, officials familiar with the matter say many of the proposed revisions to the earlier 28-point framework developed during U.S.-Russia contacts would dismantle key provisions favorable to Moscow. All right, European capitals have pushed Washington to demand deeper concessions from Russia, a stance seen inside the Kremlin as an effort to prolong, not resolve the conflict. All right, says Putin's comments appear aimed at highlighting the widening rift between the U.S. and Europe, particularly as some European leaders push for more aggressive posture while American negotiators explore diplomatic off-ramps. All right, U.S. envoy Steve. All right, that's Steve Witkoff. Firm response to attacks on Russian vessels. All right, the Russian president also issued a stern warning to Kyiv. All right, after Ukrainian forces struck several vessels in Russia's so-called shadow fleet in recent days. All right, these ships, which Ukraine claims are used to evade sanctions, were hit in the Black Sea, an escalation Moscow views as a direct attack on its commercial infrastructure. Woo. All right. It says in response, so the Lord is just ramping things up little by little by little, but things are moving fast, man. All right. In response, Putin vowed retaliation. Russia will set up strikes on Ukrainian ports and on any ships entering them. Woo. All right. It says if the attacks continue, he said, calling the Ukrainian actions piracy. All right. It says Moscow maintains that Kyiv, all right, backed by Western intelligence, is intentionally escalating maritime tensions in the hopes of drawing NATO deeper into the conflict. And that this is all the Lord's doing. All right. Pretty soon it's going to be all out war. And not just war, I'm talking about nuclear war. You understand? All right. Despite the sharpness, all right, of his warnings, Putin framed Russia's position as one of controlled strength and strategic stability. Moscow, he emphasized, is open to peace, all right, but only to an agreement grounded in reality rather than in the political fantasies of Brussels. All right, according to one Kremlin advisor, Russia is prepared for peace, but it will not accept a deal written by those who refuse to acknowledge the facts on the ground. All right. So you got this video here, as I was saying. All right, let me play this video.
Город является как бы не просто... Ну, европейцы не молчат. Они обижаются, что их как бы отстранили от ведения переговоров. Но хочу отметить, что их никто не отстранял. Они сами отстранились. Они же в какое-то время у нас был с ними тесный контакт. Потом они резко оборвали контакты с Россией. Это была их инициатива. Почему они это сделали? Потому что они взяли на вооружение тезис нанесения России стратегического поражения и живут до сих пор, судя по всему, в этих иллюзиях. Средств сообщения, но наблюдая, что результаты.
I gotta close this video soon because my laptop is about to die.
Сегодня тоже не нравится. Они начали мешать и действующей администрации Соединенных Штатов и президенту Трампу достичь мира с помощью переговоров. Сами отказались от мирных переговоров и президенту Трампу мешают, поскольку город полностью находится в руках российских вооруженных сил. Это третье. У них нет мирной повестки. Они же на стороне войны. И даже тогда, когда они пытаются якобы внести какие-то изменения в предложение Трампа, мы же это отчетливо видим. Все эти изменения направлены только на одно. На то, чтобы вообще заблокировать весь этот мирный процесс. Выдвинуть такие требования, которые для России являются абсолютно неприемлемыми. Они это понимают. И тем самым свалить потом на Россию сворачивание этого мирного процесса. А что? Предлагалось, чтобы ваши коллеги...
So I'll leave it at that. I'm scared my laptop going to die and this video not going to be saved. You know, it says 9 minutes, but I probably got like 2 or 3, 4. All right, but anyway, you know, this is on New York Post. All right, you could, you know, get into this article yourself. All right, watch this video yourself. I just wanted to bring you this news to let you know what's happening, what's going on. All right, you know, so you're not living under a rock, man. All right, so you know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right, until the next one, Shalom.